Good morning, I'm Gretchen Hall. We're coming to you on this fourth day of November. It is a Tuesday, bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matter. Let's get to the stories that matter today. Tropical cyclone wind signal number 4 is now in effect for many areas in the Visayas as Typhoon Tino crosses land. Classes and travel have also been canceled due to the typhoon's onslaught. DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon continues to roll out reforms to clean up the agency amid mounting allegations of anomalies. The newest reform targets overpriced materials as the DPWH found key items were marked up by double or more. And respondents linked to alleged Bulacan Ghost flood control projects have been summoned by the Department of Justice. According to Acting Secretary Frederick Vida, subpoenas for the first 5 cases are out and a preliminary investigation is set on November 10. And welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. Now, first on the agenda, Typhoon Tino has made landfall in Silago, southern Leyte at midnight Tuesday. Pag-asa earlier warned the storm would hit at or near peak intensity. The system is now crossing the Visayas in northern Palawan, bringing heavy rains and strong winds across parts of the Visayas and Mindanao. Signal number 4 is up in several areas. And Typhoon Tino is bringing life-threatening conditions over the Camotes Islands and is now moving closer to Cebu. For more details, we have Pag-asa weather specialist John Manalo. Magandang umaga sa iyo, John.
Magandang umaga, Miss Gretchen, at ganoon din sa ating mga taga-subaybay.
Ano ang current location ni Tino ngayon?
Si Tino po ay naglandfall na sa ikalawang pagkakataon. Kaninang 5:10 ng umaga sa Borbon, Cebu. At kanina lang 6:40 AM. Ito ay muling naglandfall. Ito po yung third landfall nitong si Tino sa Sagay City, Negros Occidental. At yung lakas ng hangin na taglay nitong si Bagyong Tino sa kasalukuyan ay nasa 150 kilometers per hour malapit sa mata ng bagyo, at gustiness o biglaang paglakas ng hangin na umaabot sa 205 kilometers per hour. Ito ay kumikilos, yung buong system o yung buong bagyo na buong si Tino ay kumikilos pa west-northwest sa bilis na 25 kilometers per hour.
Yung mga signal number 4 na areas, ano-ano po yun?
Nakataas po sa signal number 4 yung mga lugar na ating babanggitin, yung western portion ng Leyte, northern portion ng Cebu, kasama yung Camotes Island, Bantayan Islands, at northernmost portion ng Negros Oriental. Kasama din yung northern portion ng Negros Occidental, Guimaras, Capiz, Iloilo, central and southern portion ng Antique, at southern portion ng Aklan.
Ang signal number 3 naman ho ay nakataas sa anong mga lugar?
Dito po sa southwestern portion ng Masbate, kasama yung northernmost portion ng Palawan, kasama din yung Calamian Islands and Cuyo Islands. Also, nakataas din sa signal number 3 yung natitirang bahagi ng Leyte, Biliran, northern portion ng Bohol, kasama yung central portion ng Cebu, northern portion ng Negros Oriental, central portion ng Negros Occidental, natitirang bahagi ng Aklan, natitirang bahagi ng Antique, kasama ang Kaluya Islands.
And then signal number 2 and 1?
Signal number 2 po ay dito sa western portion ng Masbate, southern portion ng Oriental Mindoro, southern portion ng Occidental Mindoro, Romblon, northern portion ng Palawan, western and southern portion ng Samar, Cebu, central portion ng Negros Oriental, natitirang bahagi ng Negros Occidental, southern Leyte, at natitirang bahagi ng Bohol. Signal number 1 naman dito sa Sorsogon, natitirang bahagi ng Masbate kasama Anticao Island at Purias Island, Albay, natitirang bahagi ng Oriental Mindoro, northern and central portion ng Occidental Mindoro, southern portion ng Quezon, southern portion ng Marinduque, central portions ng Palawan kasama ang Cagayan Silio Island, northern Samar, eastern Samar, natitirang bahagi ng Samar, natitirang bahagi ng Negros Oriental at Siquijor. Kasama din sa signal number 1 itong Dinagat Islands, northern portion ng Surigao del Norte at Camiguin.
John, dito naman sa Metro Manila, mayroon ba nakataas na wind signal?
Wala pong wind signal na nakataas dito sa Metro Manila. Ang nagpapaulan po sa atin ay yung shear line. Ito po yung salubungan ng hangin na associated sa hanging amihan at yung hangin na nanggagaling dito sa Pacific Ocean, yung tinatawag natin na easterlies. At yung trough din nitong bagyo ay nagko-contribute din sa posibleng pagtakas nitong shear line. Kaya yung shear line po, yung nagdudulot ng mga pag-ulan simula kaninang umaga pa dito sa Metro Manila at sa mga karating na probinsya, lalo na po sa probinsya ng Quezon.
Yung itong si Bagyong Tino, marami siyang dadaanan, di ba? Kasi pa-westward siya eh. Kumpara po dun sa ibang bagyo ng mga nakaraang buwan, ito po ba ay tatagal, hihina dahil marami siyang dadaanan? Ano ang aasahan ng ating mga kapatid sa kanyang pagtawid ng Pilipinas?
Opo, dahil sa naglandfall na ito sa Negros Occidental at ang susunod niya na babaybayin ay yung southern part ng Panay Island and eventually ay dito sa northern part ng Palawan. And by bukas ay lalabas na ito ng ating kalupaan and eventually ay by Thursday lalabas na ito ng Philippine Area of Responsibility. Yung mga babaybayin nitong si Bagyong Tino ay asahan natin yung mga malalakas na hangin. Yung mga signal number 4 po ay gusto natin itong i-emphasize. Yun po yung mga may kaugnayan sa lakas ng hangin. Also, meron din naman po tayong weather advisory. May mga lugar po sa Visayas lalo na makakaranas ng mahigit sa 200 millimeters na mga pagulan. Ibig sabihin po ng amount na yon ay posible yung mga widespread o malawakang pagbaha. At kapag tayo po ay nakatira sa mga bulubunduking lugar, ay posible din yung landslide. Kaya mag-ingat po tayo at sumunod sa mga ipapayo ng ating LGU at local DRRM offices.
Meron din bang banta ng storm surge o tsunami?
Opo, salamat Ms. Gretchen sa pagbanggit niyan. Meron tayong nakataas na storm surge warning. At meron tayong updated niyan na ibig sabihin malaking bahagi din ng Visayas ang posible na makaranas ng storm surge. Pero sa kasalukuyan, wala pa namang nakakarating sa atin na reported na incident na storm surge. Magkaganon pa man, ay pinag-iingat pa rin natin yung mga kababayan natin na nakatira sa coastal areas. At bukod sa ating storm surge warning, ay meron din tayong nakataas na gale warning. Ibig sabihin, ay huwag tayong papalaot dahil yung storm surge ay yung paghampas ng alon dito sa ating mga baybayin coastal area. Yung gale warning naman ay kapag pumalaot tayo, yung matataas na alon na posibleng makaapekto sa atin ay nananatili na nakataas.
Okay. John, kung ito ay maihahalin tulad mo sa ibang bagyo, ano kayang bagyo yun?
Ayan, opo. In terms of track o yung binabaybay niya ng mga lugar, maihahalin tulad po natin ito dito kay Bagyong Yolanda na kung saan ay nagkaroon ng storm surge. Pero in terms of intensity, di hamak na mas mahina naman po itong si Tino kaysa dito kay Yolanda. Pero in terms, hindi po dapat, again, kahit na typhoon category lang po ito si Tino, hindi po natin dapat ito minamaliit o magiging complacent tayo. Dahil yung epekto nitong si Tino in terms of winds at ganoon din naman sa pagulan ay nananatiling nandyan.
Kinabahan naman kami sa iyo, buti na lang nilinaw mo na hindi siya ganong kalakas kasi sa typhoon category pa lamang. Pero wala na itong tsansa na lumakas pa lalo. At pangalawa, hanggang kailan babaybayin ni Tino ang Pilipinas, ang Philippine Area of Responsibility?
Sa ating analysis, Ms. Gretchen, hindi na natin nakikita na ito, si Bagyong Tino, ay lalakas pa into super typhoon. By the way, super typhoon itong si Yolanda, ngayon ay si Tino na lang. So nakikita natin na by Wednesday ay nasa northern part na ito ng Palawan at doon na rin siya lalabas. And by Wednesday din, unti-unti na natin mararanasan yung kabawasan sa mga pagtayo ng hangin at ganoon din naman yung mga lakas ng pagulan. And by Thursday, ay lalabas na ito ng Philippine Area of Responsibility and by Friday, nandito na ito sa eastern part ng Vietnam. Pero heads up po, dahil may nakikita tayo kaulapan dito sa labas ng Philippine Area of Responsibility at nakataas ito sa high category. Ibig sabihin, sa susunod na 24 oras ay nananatiling mataas yung tsansa na ito ay maging isang ganap na bagyo o tropical depression. At sa ating analysis, papasok ito ng Philippine Area of Responsibility sa weekend.
So may susunod pa. Ito naman ay anong forecasted track?
Sa ngayon po ay dahil hindi pa ito bagyo ay hindi pa tayo naglalabas ng forecast track dahil kailangan mag-organize muna itong LPA. Nananatili pa rin po kasi siyang LPA pero pagpasok niya dito sa PAR or kapag naging bagyo na siya kahit sa labas ng PAR ay maglalabas na tayo ng Tropical Cyclone Advisory. Yun na po yung may track.
So kung kailangan maglaba, kailangan gawin na yan ng Thursday, Friday bago pumasok yung isa pang binabantayan po ninyo. Okay, maraming salamat sa iyo. Mukhang maging maulan ang Tuesday na ito. Thank you for warning us and helping us understand the latest on Typhoon Tino. We have Pag-asa weather specialist John Manalo giving us the latest from Pag-asa.
Salamat po at ingat po.
As Typhoon Tino continues to bring strong winds and heavy rainfall across parts of the country, several local government units have announced suspension of classes and work today, November 4. In Mimaropa, no classes have been declared in Occidental Mindoro, Oriental Mindoro, Romblon, Marinduque, and Palawan, including key towns like Coron, Puerto Princesa, and Taytay. In the Bicol region, suspensions are in effect in Albay, Camarines Sur, Catanduanes, Masbate, and Sorsogon. Across Western Visayas, classes are also suspended in several towns and cities in Aklan, Capiz, Antique, Negros Occidental, and Iloilo. In Central Visayas, Cebu City has declared no classes until Wednesday, November 5. And in Eastern Visayas, provinces such as Leyte, Samar, Northern Samar, Eastern Samar, Southern Leyte, and Biliran have all declared suspension of classes and work. Several airlines have also declared flight cancellations for passengers' safety. Affected flights are now flashed on your screens. And coming right up, the Department of Justice has summoned respondents implicated in alleged ghost flood control projects in Bulacan. Let's talk more about this with DOJ spokesperson Attorney Polo Martinez when Morning Matters returns after a quick break. Keep it here. Good morning, impression on here at Morning Matters. We talk about the most pressing issues and give you the context behind the headlines. The Department of Justice has summoned respondents linked to alleged ghost flood control projects in Bulacan. Acting Justice Secretary Frederick Vida says subpoenas have been served in the first 5 cases, with the preliminary investigation set on November 10. Former DPWH officials are among those implicated in projects declared finished on paper but found incomplete or non-existent during inspections. The DOJ aims to decide within a month if charges will be filed following President Marcos's surprise visits that prompted a crackdown on flood control anomalies. And joining us now on the show, we have DOJ spokesperson Attorney Polo Martinez. Welcome to Morning Matters.
Good morning, Gretchen. Good morning to the viewers.
Okay, so you have subpoenaed several DPWH engineers, Henry Alcantara, Bryce Hernandez, RJ Domasig, and JP Mendoza. Sila lang ba yung part of that list? And what is the scope of the 5 flood control projects?
Okay, so it's a long list of respondents pertaining to 5 ghost projects in Bulacan.
All in Bulacan?
All in Bulacan, at least for these 5 cases, no, that were referred back to the DOJ by the Ombudsman.
So these are all involving the ghost flood control projects or not necessarily?
So these are all involving, that's correct, all ghost projects in Bulacan specifically. That's 3 in Balagtas, 2 in Pandi.
Oo. So isabihin, pag sinabing ghost, wala talagang kahit ano?
Yes, wala.
But how about the other projects na nilagyan ng patong? I mean, is that part of the subpoena also?
So no. The answer is no, because the subpoenas were issued with respect only to the 5 cases. So again, Bulacan lang to. This is not to say that the other cases are not being pursued, because you have to remember that cases are also pending with the Office of the Ombudsman. So there's a separate from the investigation which is being conducted by the DOJ. Kasi both investigatory bodies, investigation bodies ang DOJ and Ombudsman with respect to crimes to be prosecuted.
And what is under the jurisdiction of the Ombudsman here? Kung may hatian kayo?
So generally, the Ombudsman, yung jurisdiction niya, are with respect to cases involving government officials with a salary grade of 27 or higher. Okay, so yun yung distinction between what falls under them to prosecute and what falls under us as the DOJ.
Okay. I do remember that these ghost flood control projects, kumbaga, because the other projects that you have not included are linked to lawmakers. These ones were masterminded by the DPWH engineers? I get it right?
No, it's premature to say that it was masterminded by the DPWH officials. What we're saying is that with respect to yung pag-prosecute namin ng crimes, and so far as the personalities, who are the personalities involved, ang kasama dyan would be salary grade 27 or below salary grade 27. Because yun naman yung jurisdiction namin to prosecute or to investigate and then prosecute. So yun yung difference between the Ombudsman jurisdiction and ours.
Okay, the lower officials.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, is appearance required with these subpoenas?
Yes, of course. You're being subpoenaed to appear before the prosecutors for purposes of preliminary investigation.
What if they send a representative?
Well, you would have to file your counter affidavit kasi yung kontra salaysay mo in any criminal investigation proceeding. And yung salaysay na yun, yung kontra salaysay or counter affidavit, has to necessarily be subscribed before the handling prosecutors. So that entails personal appearance. Haharap ka talaga to swear and to subscribe to your affidavit. Without which, then walang value. Because, of course, that's a way of authenticating that it was really you who executed the affidavit, ikaw talaga yung who drafted it, who wrote, whose statements were made there, and that you were not coerced, and that you did not lie when you made that affidavit. So all that has to be done through subscription before the handling prosecutor personally.
Why only these 4 engineers?
So no, we're not saying na yun lang yung 4, just those 4 for now. And with respect only to these 5 cases.
Okay.
Okay, I think we have to disabuse the people's minds na ito na yun. Okay, this does not preclude further investigation to other projects.
This is the start.
The start, of course. Yes, that's exactly right. The start perhaps a starting point for the rest. Kasi the investigation being conducted for the rest may depend also on what evidence is available here, diba? Or what results are derived from these investigations. Okay, so
And what evidence triggered these subpoenas in these cases? Is it their testimonies at the congressional hearings?
so generally speaking, it's everything that was submitted before the panel of prosecutors. That's their testimonies, the contents of their testimonies with respect to, for example, how funds were being misappropriated or diverted, how funds were being misallocated within the whole scheme of the flood control issue. So we can't pinpoint what specific evidence because it's always a totality, an understanding and assessment of the totality and circumstances of what was presented and submitted.
So we can't, given the jurisdiction of the DOJ here and the Office of the Ombudsman, we can't expect for the DOJ to subpoena our lawmakers because that falls under the Office of the Ombudsman. Is that correct? Do I get that right?
So not exactly, kasi we still have subpoena powers to subpoena witnesses or would-be respondents kahit na salary grade 27, insofar as they pertain to the investigation being conducted on our level. Okay, sabihin natin na they are witnesses, their testimony may be material, they could still be subpoenaed pursuant to our investigation. Pero pagdating when it comes time to prosecute them, that will be under the Ombudsman's jurisdiction.
Because that's what the public is asking. No? Bakit DPWH lamang yung nandito sa subpoena list? Why isn't, for example, Zaldico, Congressman Zaldico, included in that list when his name has been mentioned several times?
Okay, sige. So, to answer that question, in my previous press briefing before the DOJ, I said na yung other local elected officials can still be prosecuted, can still be investigated and prosecuted. Are they being investigated now? Are they respondents now? Were they subpoenaed now? Well, not yet. But the operative word is yet. That's not to say that they cannot be subpoenaed at a future time if the investigation or the findings by the prosecutor warrant such a subpoenaing, okay, such the action of serving subpoenas. With respect to Zaldico, we have to take note that Zaldico right now is missing. As far as we know, he is not in the Philippines. Ergo, he is not under the jurisdiction of the Philippine courts, the Philippine Prosecutorial Service. So it would be difficult for us to have him appear in front of us when even the state itself cannot acquire jurisdiction over him. Diba? So
what can we do now? I mean, is that a lost cause? If he does stay in a state where there's no extradition treaty with the Philippines, paano natin hahabulin yun? I mean, what is the recourse of the nation?
So definitely not a lost cause. Just to be clear, not a lost cause. We have other channels by which we could request for his return, or we could even compel his return. So for example, we have sought the assistance of Interpol first in locating him. Pangalawa,
you have sought. It's
the DOJ.
already been done.
The DOJ, yes.
It's already
This is
rolling.
reported by the OIC Secretary of Justice, Frederick Vida, yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And so Interpol could assist us in doing so. There is also the possibility of, in the same way that requesting Interpol for assistance, exploring other diplomatic channels to be able to negotiate or discuss the return of Zaldico in the event that we do locate the state where he's located. Diba? So that's the first issue. Where is he? Right. Number two, are diplomatic channels available between the Philippines and that country to be able to discuss or negotiate a return, perhaps? And I like how you mentioned extradition treaty, because coercing or compelling another country, at least with legal force, to return a fugitive from justice located within their country, you would have to necessarily enforce the provisions of an extradition treaty, assuming there is one standing between that country and the Philippines. No,
If there is none,
then diplomatic channels tayo. We'll see. That's a possible avenue. Yun yung no? That's why I say na kahit na walang extradition treaty, may possibility pa. But that will depend on the relationship between those two states. And again, all of that precedes the question of where is he exactly, right?
Is there enough evidence to subpoena also the House Speaker, former House Speaker, Martin Romualdez?
Well, that's not for us to decide right now. Again, all these cases kasi are kept very confidential. That's done by the panel of prosecutors. So, can they do so? Of course they can. Of course they can. Is there sufficient evidence to do so now? That's not. That's for them to determine and to decide whether a subpoenas should be.
And who is the determinant of that?
So the handling prosecutors.
Within the DOJ?
Within the DOJ, yes. So, ang lahat kasi ng prosecutors sa mga taga-usig, they fall under the DOJ.
Ang gagawin nila, I mean, how is the assessment process gonna be? They're gonna assess the weight of evidence before they finally issue a subpoena? Is that the process here?
Thank you for asking. The subpoenas are issued to see if the evidence is sufficient to stand trial. So the subpoena issuing, just to make it clear, subpoena issuing is done in the process of investigation. Yan yung means mo by which you will gather the evidence, get the testimonies of these people.
So pag nabanggit yung pangalan, pwede na. I mean, to somehow subpoena them, to be able to answer to the allegations.
Hindi lang pag nabanggit. If their participation dun sa sinabit na complaint or affidavits in the filing of which, if their participation ditong elected officials, they're found to be material by the handling prosecutors. Ganito kasi yan eh. Pag file mo ng complaint with the DOJ or with any prosecution service, they'll make an initial evaluation of the evidence. Is it enough to proceed to preliminary investigation? That's the first step. Okay, so you could say that the criminal process, at least with respect to the DOJ, is two-tiered. First, evaluation. The second is preliminary investigation. So dalawa pa yan. It is after evaluation that the prosecutors issue the subpoena for purposes of preliminary investigation, what we call PI. Tapos during PI, dun mo aalamin kung may sufficient evidence to stand trial before the courts. So two-tiered siya within the prosecution service, and then it exits us upon finding na may proof enough to stand trial with the courts.
How do you interpret the not interpretation, more of how is the DOJ dealing with the testimony of Orly Gutesa with the false notarial signature? Is that rendered null and void already?
Okay, so the court in the Manila court that decided this case said that the affidavit by Orly Gutesa had a defective notarization. Now that's very factual. That was what was stated in the decision. That's what made the court decide that it was a falsified affidavit, no? As per the court's words. As to what the DOJ will do now, well, we understand that the court has referred back to us for investigation. Okay, because that's the DOJ's job to investigate. But the referral is not a directive. We have to note that the powers and competence of the court are very independent, at least right at this stage of investigation, to that of the prosecution. Because the courts do not investigate, at least with respect
you can challenge that decision by the Manila Regional Trial Court.
No, it's not for us to challenge. Okay, we will not be in any capacity to challenge it. Okay, if anyone wants to challenge that decision, it will be the accused in that case, Orly Gutesa. Siya ang may cause of action because he is the party affected, he is the aggrieved party. The DOJ's mandate is to solely investigate cases, right? And investigation, if I can just clarify, Gretchen, investigation is initiated by the filing of a complaint, which does not come from us, but from law enforcement, from private parties. So unless a complaint is filed by law enforcement saying na ito yung evidence
from NBI,
namin,
PNP,
that's correct.
or a private citizen.
Right. So dun mga galing yan, they file it with us. We see, again, and it goes through the whole process I just discussed.
Okay, so yung testimony ni Orly Gutesa, do you think that will be enough? I mean, even if that affidavit was declared falsified, and how do you deal with it? I mean, is that still considered as part of the evaluation?
So with respect to any evaluation now, it's not. Categorically, it's not, only because it's never been used in any of the complaints filed before the DOJ. It does not preclude any the use of that affidavit. Hindi. Okay? Because this was discussed before, the effective notarization only goes into the notarization.
Oo.
Diba? Kung gagamit ba na itong affidavit na ito mga gamit at
Wala
the
pang
future
kaso,
time?
wala pang fina-file.
Oo,
Yung
wala
sinasabi
pa.
mo na law enforcement.
Yes, yun. Kasi dun manggagaling yan eh.
Okay, siguro I mean, what can you say to the public's frustration over the speed of which these subpoenas have been filed? Naghahanap ang mga tao ng bakit wala pa rin nakakasuhan hanggang sa ngayon, wala pa rin nakukulong. Help us understand the whole process of investigation, the different stages, and why, I mean, sinasabi ng mga tao, I mean, kung yung maliliit na tao, ang bilis mapatawag at mapakulong, bakit itong malalaki ang tatagal ng proseso na yan?
Siguro, sagot yung Gretchen, no, is hindi natin pwede ikumpara yung mga may maliliit na kaso who had done criminal acts as to the criminals here, compared to criminals here.
Yes.
Mabilis yung mga maliliit na tao for many reasons, but primarily because their cases or the criminal actions that they did are very straightforward. Simple lang yung kaso. 'Di ba? Siguro ang involved lang diyan isa, dalawa na parties, one aggrieved party. As opposed to this case here, that's very complex. Right? And as I discussed earlier, the criminal justice system, at least with respect to the prosecution, no, bago tayo mabot ng court, two-tiered na yan. May evaluation, may preliminary investigation. Lahat yan may timeline under the law. Because the law understands that we have to work within a certain period of time kasi marami talagang evidence to assess. So this is what the time that you're allowed to work with it, and have to rush it in case you need to do so because you have to comply with the timeline. Natatagalan lang because of all the evidence available, the materials available. You still have to study it and see if all of those taken together meets the standard of proof under the law. Ito yung analogy ko dyan. Let's say you have a school project. Pwedeng lahat ng materials mo na sa table na. But unless you can curate it in an articulate manner, so much so that you can present it to your professor, na ito po yung project ko, this is my analysis, my recommendation. Unless you can do that, kahit lahat pa ng materials na kalatag na dyan, it will not merit a grade. So that's why it takes some time.
So kailangan mo na intindihin
Yes,
kung gaano
yes.
kalalim itong problemang ito na hinaharap natin and what charges should be filed. But when it comes to the information involved, is the DOJ confident that it has enough? With the testimonies in the congressional hearings, also the data from the DPWH, the civil service organizations are also coming out with their own sets of data. Do you think, is the DOJ confident that it would meet the threshold of certainty of conviction, at least for the 5 subpoenaed individuals?
Okay. So I'm glad you mentioned all those Senate hearings, testimony dito, what was said here and there. That begs the question, though, how much of that is actually material or is admissible for purposes of preliminary investigation? Kasi kahit naman magsalita ako here or somewhere else, unless that's authenticated in a preliminary investigation proceeding where I appear, the respondent or whoever appears personally to say that what I said here can be corroborated. You can ask me or
they need to affirm it again.
Exactly, yun. That's the word we're looking for, affirmation.
They can change their testimony.
Yes,
and whatever they say in court, that's the one that will hold in the investigation.
Right. We hear the concept of hearsay, for instance, di ba?
So, for example, for the Discayas, do you have any plans to subpoena them anytime soon? Pangalawa, what if they change their testimony in court?
So as we have not received information yet as to whether, at least with respect to the 5 cases, or those pending with us, if there is a need to subpoena the Discayas. And not just the Discayas, though, anyone for that matter, because we have not, first, yung 5 cases na to are already being, for preliminary investigation na to. Okay, we have respondents there. We have a list of respondents specifically for those cases. Are the Discayas involved? We can't say. Will their statements be material for these 5 cases? I cannot preempt the panel of prosecutors handling it. Okay? In the same way that I cannot say that the Discayas' statements will not be material or will be material for the cases pending before the Ombudsman. Again, these investigative bodies have
Pero
to do
where
their,
do these contractors fall under? Do they fall sa ombudsman or dito sa DOJ?
Yun yung tricky question eh. Kasi, again, generally, pag salary grade 27 and below, and above,
Pero hindi
that's
naman sila government
ombudsman.
official.
Oo.
Oo.
May mga legal intricacies pa dyan na let's say may conspiracy among these people na sabihin natin, 5 yan, isa lang yung above salary grade 27. All that will fall under the ombudsman pa rin. So it's very tricky legally.
But have
because
you talked
to
about that
determine-
with the Office of the Ombudsman? Sino sa salon nun?
Hindi pa, no.
Okay.
Oo, kasi syempre, yung kaso nila yan. Right? Yung final sa kanila, let's say for example, by DPWH, that's within their realm, their jurisdiction. Unless they get in touch with us or they refer the cases to us for preliminary investigation, hindi namin makabasa yung laman yan.
Okay. What have the challenges been? I mean, doing this interagency coordination with the Office of the Ombudsman, but not just them, you're also working with the NBI, working with AFP, the PNP to corroborate itong mga flood control projects. And then there's the ICI.
Yeah.
Oh, so sila naman, ano naman ang sakop nila? And how do you imagine this ecosystem to work
Okay. So,
efficiently? Because there have been concerns about more red tape, lalo pag nagdagdag ka ng isa pang body, if they do give the ICI powers, baka madoble lang. And there are questions about the constitutionality of that kasi meron naman tayo mga provided by law, nandiyan na yung DOJ at yung Ombudsman.
So, in terms of DOJ, the prosecution service, the NPS, ang trabaho niya that distinguishes its job investigating from the ICI and the Ombudsman is, right now we have 3 charges, no? At least with respect, again, to the 5 cases. That's malversation, that's graft and corrupt practices under Republic Act 3019, and then you have, there's even the light felony of perjury. So those are 3. Now, the job of the prosecution in the DOJ is to see how the evidence serves as proof that overt acts were committed
In violation of
in
these.
violation of those 3 laws. Kasi bawat criminal, bawat crime or offense under the law, may elements in it. And you have to satisfy those elements using the evidence that you have. Parang, how do these all fit the puzzle of, can these acts constitute the crime of this? Right? So that's what we're looking for. Like, how can we make it fit na, okay, well, was there malversation? Was there graft and corrupt practices under the RA 3019? Kasi marami din yung listahan of how offenses are committed. Was there perjury? So, yun yung end goal eh. Like, the charge if the evidence fit the charge. And I'd like to make that distinction because yun lang kasi, yun ang trabaho ng DOJ compared to ICI, for example.
Okay.
The ICI does not determine na ito yung crime. How do we make the evidence fit the crime? Right? Because you're not prosecutors. You're not part of the criminal justice
But
system.
there's a bid to give them more powers. So, for example, Senate Bill 1215 seeks to establish, I think this is different, Independent People's Commission to investigate anomalies in government infrastructure projects. There's House Bill 4453 seeking to grant the ICI authority to cite persons in contempt. There's House Bill 5699 seeking to give it powers to issue hold departure orders, recover and sequester properties, file administrative, criminal, or civil cases against these individuals. What do you think? I mean, what is your view here? What kind of powers should the ICI have in order for it to work complementarily with the DOJ and the Office of the Ombudsman?
So the ICI, all those powers are pursuant to its main mandate of fact-finding. Fact-finding what happened in the whole
kumbaga,
flood control.
data
gathering,
gathering.
tama. That's a nice way to put it. Data gathering, and then I like how you mentioned yung last role, yung filing of criminal and civil.
O, di ba, role nyo yun?
Hindi, ang role namin is tanggapin yung final. Diba?
Okay.
So iba yun eh. So they fact find, and then it says there, I like how you read it, they file criminally, civilly. At least with respect to criminally, pwedeng
Okay.
i-file sa DOJ yun or sa ombudsman, depending on
So in the
jurisdiction.
whole equation, they act like law enforcers. Kasi yung sabi mo pwede mag-file yung law enforcement or private citizen or the ICI. Ganon lalabas.
In terms of investigation, that's correct. Siyempre, law enforcement, they enforce the law. ICI has no power
Or
to
does the
enforce.
PNP file with no, it goes straight to the DOJ.
Yes, yes. But the PNP can coordinate with them for purposes of filing.
So all of these powers, if given to them, will not conflict.
They will not, no. No. In fact, mas mapapabilis. It will expedite, well, not expedite. It will help us investigate more thoroughly and further into the issue.
And even with the Office of the Ombudsman.
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. So, yun yung complex web
Yes, yes.
to sa flood control.
Well, in determining lang how do they all fit, tanong mo muna, first question, what is the mandate of each? What is the role of each? Because even though lahat yan are DOJ, Ombudsman, ICI, they're all doing their investigating, right? But then yung investigation na yun is pursuant to an objective, which is their mandate under the law. So you go into the mandate first.
Okay. How is the DOJ expecting to tackle the scale of this problem? Not just with Bulacan, but also across all flood control projects.
We're taking it step by step. So we start with the 5 that were referred back to us by the Ombudsman.
If we do it step by step, wouldn't that take more than a decade to pursue all of these?
No,
crimes?
that's why all 3 kasi are doing their part to investigate. There are cases filed with the Ombudsman being investigated by the Office of the Ombudsman currently.
Yeah, what other provinces are you looking at apart from Bulacan?
No, so I can only speak on behalf of DOJ, no? That's just the 5 cases, 5 projects
Wala pa
in
sa
Bulacan.
ngayon. Wala pa sa ngayon. Sa
Hindi.
Mindoro, sa iba pa
Wala
mga
pa kasi. Itong 5 lang hawak namin now eh.
For now.
For now,
okay.
that's right.
Do you have information on the whereabouts of Orly Gutesa and
We
where
do
he
not.
is currently?
No. So locating kasi witnesses, locating these people, fugitives or people running away from the law is a law enforcement mandate. So right now we don't know. Have there been efforts to do so, to locate them? Yes, but that is something that the PNP or the law enforcement can speak better on in that regard. It's not our. It's not within our province right now.
Okay, and how about the witness protection program? Have more citizen witnesses come forward to help with the case, the filing of the cases and the build-up? And how's the witness protection program going?
Well, so I've received information that there are some new applicants. As to who, I do not know yet. As to whether their testimony is material, then even more is it up in the air now. So we don't know. Kasi, maraming nag-apply stating that they have information here, but you have to vet that out eh. Diba? Hindi naman po pwedeng lahat na lang na magsabi meron akong information regarding so-and-so can be, is material. No? So we have to filter and thoroughly vet these applications first, state witness firsthand. Or if there are applications for being a covered witness under the program.
And how soon can charges be filed? At siguro ang tanong ng taong bayan, hanggang how fast can someone be put behind bars?
How fast is dependent upon many factors and not just within the institution of the DOJ. Putting someone behind bars entails necessarily a conviction before the court of law. Diba?
At magagawa ba yan before the term of the president ends?
Well, the goal is to be able to conclude preliminary investigation before the year ends. That's where our job as investigators in the criminal justice system stops. Diba? And then
And to be able to file charges
yes,
by
before the
December.
courts, right. And then upon filing with the courts, it will then proceed to trial, which is an entirely new and meticulous process in itself that's separate from us. Sa huwes na yan, sa hukuman na yan. So what we can promise though, or what we can say is that we're doing our part to meet the period prescribed under the law for preliminary investigation.
Which is?
Which is 60 days. Okay, which is 60 days in fact generally, no? But then as per OIC Secretary of Justice Vida, November 10 is the date where we intend to initiate preliminary investigation.
Does the DOJ need more resources to be able to pursue all of these flood control cases?
Right now, we're working with the best that we have at our disposal. As to whether we need more, it's not, information hasn't been clear on that, but we're able to work with what we have now.
Okay. We expect results as soon as possible because as they say, justice delayed is justice denied. Sana hindi makalimutan ng Pilipino ito. Okay, maraming salamat for answering our questions and helping us understand the matrix of our justice system. Medyo mas malinaw na. We have DOJ spokesperson Attorney Podo Martinez.
Thank you.
Up next, the House plans to pass legislation to strengthen the Independent Commission for Infrastructure. All that and more when Morning Matters returns after a quick break. Keep it here. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here in One News. At this point, let's check on the situation in Surigao City. We have News 5's correspondent, Bril Montalvo, joining us for an update. Bril, how is the weather? Malakas pa rin bang ulan dyan?
Yes, Gretchen, magandang umaga. Alam mo, Gretchen, napakainit na ng lagay ng panahon dito sa Surigao City, Surigao del Norte. Taliwas ito sa nangyari kahapon hanggang umabot kanina ng madaling araw, Gretchen, na napakalakas ng ulan at napakalakas ng hangin nga dito sa Surigao City dahil ni Bagyong Tino. So, hinay-hinay na nagbalik normal ang mga tindahan dito, ang mga negosyo dito sa Surigao City. Pero suspendido pa rin ang lahat ng antas ng klase at ang mga trabaho sa gobyerno dito sa lungsod, Gretchen. So nandito nga tayo sa Port of Surigao City at ating sinubaybayan kung ano na ang sitwasyon dito. At hanggang sa ngayon ay wala pa ring biyahe dito sa mga pantalan sa Surigao City, Gretchen. At may mga pila nga dito sa mga pasahero na gusto nang umuwi sa kanilang mga bahay, particular doon sa Dinagat Island, sa Surigao Island, and also may mga biyahe din dito sa Cebu City, Visayas, and also sa Leyte. Pero wala pang abiso ang Philippine Coast Guard at ang pamunuan ng Surigao City Port kung kailan ba exactly babalik sa normal ang mga biyahe dito. So far, so good na ang panahon dito ngayon sa Surigao City, Gretchen.
Bril, gaano kataas yung mga baha dyan, no? Gaano kataas inabot?
Gretchen, kung baha ang pag-uusapan dito sa Surigao City, wala namang baha dito sa Surigao City kahapon sa magdamagang ulan. Pero sa kalapit na probinsya dito sa Surigao del Norte, itong ang Agusan del Norte, ay doon, Gretchen, grabe yung baha doon kasi nagmistulan ng ilog ang National Highway, particular doon sa bayan ng Tubay at Agusan del Norte kasi tumaas yung tubig baha at umabot na nga sa National Highway at may iba na mga sasakyan, mga papasaherong bus na tumirik at na stranded doon sa Tubay, Agusan del Norte. At may mga bahay din doon na lubog na sa tubig baha kahapon dahil sa epekto nito ng Bagyong Tino. Pero ngayon, medyo humupa na ang tubig baha doon sa Agusan del Norte, Gretchen.
Oo, pero may nakita tayong mga imahe dito na nabagsakan ng puno yung mga daan dyan sa Surigao. Tama ba?
Yes, tama ka nga dyan, Gretchen. No, ayun nga sa LGU dito sa Surigao City, wala namang masyadong damages ang pananalasa ni Bagyong Tino kahapon dito sa lungsod. Puwera na lang itong dalawang sasakyan na nakapark dito nga sa Capitol Ground dito sa Surigao City dahil may isang napakalaking puno na nasa century na daw ang tanda nito na biglang bumuwala dahil sa malakas na hangin kahapon sa kasagsagan ni Bagyong Tino at doon bumagsak sa dalawang sasakyan. So kung makita nyo, sira-sira na yung sasakyan, halos hindi na magamit dahil sa pinsala na nadaganan ng puno ng kahoy kahapon ng umaga, Gretchen.
Marami bang roads ang hindi passable sa ngayon?
Sa ngayon, Gretchen, dito is passable na lahat ng mga daan dito sa Surigao City. Bagamat kagabi, may mga puno na nagtumbahan sa National Highway dito sa lungsod dahil nga sa lakas ng hangin, pero nagsagawa na kaagad ng clearing operation. Ito nga lokal na pamahalaan dito at lahat ng kalye dito, mga national highways, mga major roads ay passable naman, Gretchen.
Bril, sabi mo kanina okay na yung panahon dyan. Is it safe to say the worst is over for Bagyong Tino?
Yes, tama ka nga dyan, Gretchen. So makikita din natin dito sa karagatan sa harap mismo nitong Surigao Port, kalmado na ang dagat dito at tirik na rin ang araw dito. So far so good na okay na ang weather dito. Malayong-malayo na ito kahapon na sobrang lakas at sobrang hagupit itong hangin at ulan kahapon, Gretchen.
Kailan natin inaasahan na papayagan ng bumalik yung mga residente sa kanilang mga tahanan?
binisita natin kaninang umaga itong ilan sa mga evacuation center dito sa Surigao City. At yung mga residente kanina pang alas 5 ng madaling araw ay hinahinay na silang nagsiuwian sa kanilang mga bahay, Gretchen. Kumpara kahapon na tanghali pa lang ay nagsi-evacuate na sila doon sa kanilang sa mga evacuation center sa kanilang barangay dahil nga na-trauma na sila noong kasagsagan ng bagyong Odette way back 2021 na grabe nasira talaga, totally damage ang kanilang mga bahay, yung iba namatayan ng pamilya. So ngayon na-trauma na sila, kahapon pa lang mga madaling tanghali ay pumaroon na sila sa evacuation center. So ngayon meron pang mga ilan na lang na mga evacuees nandoon pa sa mga evacuation center at nabigyan naman sila ng paunang tulong kagaya ng food packs ng DSWD at ng lokal na pamahalaan dito sa Surigao City, Gretchen.
Alam ko malakas yung naging hangin itong Bagyong Tino. Kamusta naman yung mga power and communication lines dyan? At meron ba mga nabuwal na mga bubong ng bahay?
Gretchen, alam mo kahapon na sa kasagsagan ng malakas na ulan at hangin, okay naman yung signal natin, nakakapag-live tayo kahapon at yung linya ng komunikasyon, okay din, yung mga signals ng mga telecommunications, okay din. Pero pagdating ng gabi, mga pasado alas 9, is biglang nag-brown out, nawala yung supply ng kuryente, maging ang supply ng tubig at ilang mga linya ng komunikasyon pahirap pa na pagsapit ng gabi kagabi, Gretchen. Itong ang dulot nitong napakalakas na hangin at napakalakas na ulan. At may nakita tayo, may mga ibang mga government establishment dito nga sa itong provincial capital na yung mga yero nila nagsiliparan, kaya kagabi nag-abiso yung yung LGU dito na delikadong maglakpat siya or magkukuha sana tayo ng mga footages kagabi, pero pinagbawalan tayo kasi nga may mga debris sa lakas ng hangin at ulan kagabi, Gretchen.
Okay. Bilang panghuli, anong kinakailangan ng mga residente dyan? Sapat ba yung provision ng LGU?
Gretchen, sabi nga ng mga evacuees dito, mga residente, ay kailangan nila ng mga additional na mga pagkain, mga food packs at ito ngang mga tubig kasi nga wala pang masyadong supply ng tubig dito sa ilang barangay, pero may mga ibang barangay naman na may supply na ng tubig, pero meron pa ding pangilan-ngilan na wala pa rin. So kailangan nila ng mga tubig, makain kasi yung iba walang trabaho, 3 araw na silang walang trabaho dahil sa bagyong Tino, so wala silang kita. So for the meantime, umaasa lang muna sila sa tulong ng lokal na pamahalaan. Pero nabigyan naman sila ng agarang tulong naman dito ng LGU, Gretchen.
Okay. Maraming salamat sa update mo dyan at mag-ingat kayo. It's good news that the worst is over for residents of Surigao City. We have News 5 correspondent Bril Montalvo joining us live from there. And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you the right start to your morning. Let's go ahead and make the day matter. My name is Gretchen Ho. Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time.